Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. And it's 6.5. It's here. We've been playing it. Now it's time to review it. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, as always. And we're doing the show live. Twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. If you're listening on Audible or iTunes or watching on YouTube or on the site itself, thank you so much. Give it a like, a subscribe, turn on those notifications, leave a comment letting us know your patch 6.5 review, and feed that algorithm. You know how it is. Most of all, if you like what we do here, tell a friend. Apologies for late cancellation last week. Got a cold. Like Tuesday and Wednesday were not good. Thursday, I did the show notes Wednesday. I sent them to the gents. And Thursday, I'm like hanging in there. I'm like, we could just do the show. And by 4 o'clock, I was like, I've got to go to bed. I'm dying. Sorry, gents. Enjoy the show notes. So instead of reviewing the 6.5 details from the live letter, I'm still going to use some live letter B-roll footage for some of the things we're talking about. But we're going to actually give you our review of everything in patch 6.5. Joining me to go over all of it, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, boss?
Greetings, programs. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Still got like the little residual cough, so if I give you a little in the background, I apologize. I'll try to mute when it happens, but
sure.
Feeling better. That's the important part.
Indeed.
Patch is all right. Patch is okay, but I don't know. We'll dive into it, but yeah, it's kind of meh for me. It's
Yeah, and we're gonna take a look at the obviously 6.5, but then we're gonna take like an expanded look at the whole expansion now that we're basically done. Like we got a little bit of MSQ to follow in 6.5.5 and some odds and ends, but we're basically done with Endwalker. So we'll take a step back view of the entire thing as well. Also giving his opinions, Mr. Paul Berlin. What's up, Flynn?
Hey, I am tired today. Well, I'm hanging in there. I've still got some energy for the show.
Good.
Time to talk about everything.
Yeah. I mean, 6.5, bringing the MSQ, the whole Golbez story arc to its conclusion there. And then we've got the last piece of the Alliance Raid. I mean, that's it, gents. We're done, right? Again, 6.5, couple bits, right? We're going to get a couple of bits in there. A little bit of main story kind of, I would imagine,
to push us
set up for Dawn Trail, right?
Yeah.
But nothing huge. No huge.
I'm not expecting like a Nanamo, gets poisoned kind of moment. So
right.
Yeah, well, we was never going to expect that anyway. This was always meant to just wrap itself up in a pretty little bow.
Yeah. So let's talk about the MSQ first in the 6.5. I guess you could say that they heard our complaints. We said, hey, MSQ patches, they've really just been talk, fight three things, dungeon trial, talk. And so they did change the formula this time. It's talk to three people, dungeon, trial, talk. Literally.
A little bit more talk.
Yeah, it was literally just all straight story dump, besides the dungeon and the trial itself, which we'll cover as their own entities in a moment. So let's not include them in the MSQ diagnosis or review here. Flynn, I mean, obviously they're trying to wrap up the story. It's not like we expect a ton from the MSQ patch, but this follows the trend, at least for me, that the MSQ has been weaker in Endwalker, although I like the whole Golbez thing and the Archfiends from a nostalgia point of view. Mm-hmm. I just really feel like overall the story was a little weaker than most, and 6.5.5, at least for me, MSQ-wise, kind of ended on the weakest note of any of the 6.X's. But maybe I'm in the minority. What'd you think, Flynn?
Yeah, I get you there. It didn't end particularly strong. But what saved it for me is, doing all the side quests, doing everything for Shadowbringers to pay off with referencing NBC. That extra cutscene we got if we did other stuff, the payoff was what made me enjoy it more.
Yeah, see, I kind of have a problem with that, though, right? Like, the thing you enjoyed the most was dependent on if you had done other things. It was not, by its just definition, part of MSQ, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tark, what'd you think?
I've not railed against you guys, but like I had a different opinion. I was really enjoying 6.1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first time where I've like, my God, this is really just dragging. Like that extra talk. Yeah, it really weighed on me.
I mean, at one point there was a talk to people inside a talk to people quest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right? It was like, hey, you're gonna go to the first and you're gonna ask some people about doing
Yulmar,
what we
yeah.
want to do. And then you get there and they're like, well, hey, you better go spread the word to other people about what the Warrior of Light needs so that then we can come back and pitch this idea that you want to do to the people. So it was like you're going to have to go talk to people who have you talk to 3 people and then come back and talk to them again.
It did feel like we haven't sent you to the derelicts in a long time. No one goes down there. We need people to just poke down there and make sure people are alive.
That's 100% the feeling that I got while I was playing it. Like it was almost like the game just kind of wanted you to go see old friends.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was a Shadowbringers victory lap kind of thing. It was like, well, can we get this going? Can we get things moving? And it took forever. But once they got back to Amarang, that's when things started picking up, and I was like, oh yeah. And then Flynn pointed out some foreshadowing that I completely missed, but a great little nugget there. If you happen to notice, it was awesome.
Yeah, and it's the story. Like I there's not even like really a need to be careful about spoilers here.
Yeah,
because there isn't anything. Yeah, there isn't anything that's going to surprise you.
Yeah,
like if
it's
you
Final
haven't
Fantasy
played,
IV without one character.
Yeah,
without one villain.
If you've played all the 6.x's and you have a guess on how 6.5 ends, you're right. Like, like you're right. Every nod to 4 fans is in this series, though. Like, if 4 is your favorite Final Fantasy, you probably don't care that the storyline was maybe weaker as a whole compared to other expansions. This was a dope expansion for you.
Yes.
Because of just all the nods. Like, even a character bathed in dark becoming a paladin, right?
Yeah,
like even that happens in 6.5.
When it happened, I'm like,
a lot of predictions I saw 2 or 3 patches ago about like what could that character's actual name be. Obviously, maybe a gender swap on the name. But it was a bit obvious, actually.
Once that happened, I fully expected the moment, like, I remember everything from my past. My true name is Cecilia or Rosa or something of that nature. They didn't do that. Unfortunately, maybe a missed opportunity, or maybe that would
they shouldn't have.
That might have been a step too far.
That would have been a little too far. I'd have been like, oh, God. Cringe.
You cringe. I'd have like...
Yeah, that's another thing, Tark. As I was playing through all of it, Tark, I'm like, I love Final Fantasy IV. Don't get me wrong. I was enjoying like the nods and all the nuggets, but I literally was playing thinking, man, Tark's in his glory.
Yeah.
Like he's absolutely in his glory with this story sequence.
And the music, chef's kiss. So good. Soken does it again.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Go ahead,
this Power Cycle does feel like a missed opportunity. Because we've had redone versions of the story from 3 in our Crystal Tower raids.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've also had a form of the Evil East quest line 12 mixed and matched with tactics. I think they could have strayed off the beat a lot more and take a bit more risk with the story.
I don't think they could have. I don't think they could have, just for the sheer purpose of this storyline. This storyline was, I need you to fill 4 patches, and then I need you to not really carry over because we have no intention of letting it carry over. Like, I don't think they could have done more risky things. And when you look back, like your point on Ivalice, it's well taken, right? That's the Alliance raid, and it went through a .5 patch cycle, right? So why couldn't this? Well, because the Alliance raid was already telling its own story. And you get a very different feeling between MSQ quests and Alliance raid quests. And I think to take the chances that we might have liked them to take, Flynn, this would have had to carry in some way, maybe not through the entire expansion, but in some way into the expansion. And they've never had any intention of letting that be the case. This was a stopgap story. We're going to end the Scions on 6.0. We need something that's going to take 5 patches, a stopgap story, and then we're going to kick it off again with 7.0 on a whole new big-ass adventure. And so that really limits, I think, what they were willing to do with it time-wise.
I also, think that Ivalice did have an extended curve because they attached it to Zadnor and Bozja as well. So you had more nuggets there. So it had
True.
a lot more opportunity to breathe. Where this is, you knew that they were limiting it just to Endwalker, and Dawn Trail was going to be the start of a new saga. So
it's a really weird position for me on the MSQ, because there were dungeons that I liked in this whole series. There were trials that I thought were very, very good. Boss mechanics that were very neat, and fights that were very interesting and dynamic, even on the easier difficulties. They were fun to take part in, even if there was no challenge for like players like us. We're just kind of like, yeah, let's get the regular done and go to the harder stuff. But they were still enjoyable to do those couple of times that you're going to do them on regular. So while there's an awful lot about the 6.x line that I love, the MSQ has always been weaker in my reviews, and this really didn't elevate it at all. I'm actually kind of glad it's done. And that's not to say that, like, I wish they never did it. I think that's a different idea, Flynn, but I am kind of glad it's done. Like, I'm ready for this damn story to be over. You created some cool characters with Zero. You created some cool boss fights and some things to do. Does it fit what I was looking for in the series run? Probably not, me personally. 4 fans probably absolutely loved it. But I am glad the story is over at this point.
I think part of it for me is wanting a particular reborn individual to have had a bigger presence in the story compared to how we've had their brethren treated across our MSQ so far, rather than how they've just done it like this. I just feel like with that particular character, they could have done a bit bigger, bit more rewarding.
So what do you give it? 0 through 10, the MSQ by itself.
Around 5.
wow.
Tark, what are you feeling? It's got to be higher for you, just for the 4 nostalgia.
Yeah. I mean, for the 4 nostalgia, like 7.5. I understand that it's got to be a palate cleanser because of the separation of the sagas. But I really enjoyed overall the breadth of it. And 4 is my favorite. So, I mean, for crying out loud, like one of the moves that Zeromus does is called nostalgia, for crying out loud. So
yeah,
yeah, I did love it. I was like, well.
Yeah,
you know what they're catering for.
I think I'm going to be a little more with you on this one, Flynn. I think I'm going to put it at a 5. It was average. Like, there were bits and fights and story beats and character arcs that I kind of liked. There was nothing surprising really about anything besides initially thinking maybe Zero was going to end up being Zeromus. We kind of learned at like the 6.3-ish era that probably was not going to be the case. So then it was all just exactly what you expected. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just didn't particularly, overly enjoy it. I am glad it's over. And if we step back from that before we start looking at some individual pieces of this particular patch, now that we've seen, Tark, the entire picture of Endwalker, albeit with a smidge of stuff still to go, right? Not enough to really hold off at this point, forming a final expansion opinion. I've kind of been watching, and I'm sure you cats have too, other content creators talking
Yeah.
about Endwalker, being the weakest of the expansions or being the most disappointing or being the most this or that. When you look at Endwalker as a whole, now that you've seen the meat of what the expansion offered, where does it fall for you, Tark, in the expansions?
Oh, I might. Oh, it's hard because I'm biased because of the 4 stuff, but I don't know. Shadowbringers is absolutely the best. I think it's got to be. I don't know if it's ahead or behind Stormblood. Um, the MSQ, the main MSQ, from what was that 4.0? I felt was weak because it was a divided narrative between 2 areas. But like all the content was just top notch, and we got Eureka. Evil East was amazing. The Omega raids, while like nonsensical as far as like just being fan service, like the fights were awesome throughout all the tiers. I might have to put Stormblood as a whole above Endwalker. So it would be Shadowbringers, Stormblood, Endwalker, Heavensward, or Realm Reborn.
So you put it right in the middle.
Yep, right in the middle.
Flynn, where do you put it?
Probably around the same. If I took just Space Endwalker from start to finish, it'd probably be second, because I think the initial Endwalker story was just way more impactful to my memory. My issue with...
Yeah, but doesn't it by nature have to be when you go in knowing this is it?
Yeah. But I just feel a bit soured with the Point X story because it's Final Fantasy IV. I can just go and play Final Fantasy IV. And that's what's affected, in my opinion, Endwalker.
Honestly, for me, I feel like the way they did this makes Endwalker the weakest expansion for me, personally. That's not to say that narratively it is the worst. I don't think it is. I do agree with you, Tark, that like the original ARR is probably down the list if you're looking at just narrative and how it was delivered. But as a whole package, I feel like Endwalker was just like the least impactful expansion for me. It's the one, and it may not be my like the one that I think is absolute trash, but looking from the top down, I enjoyed everything that I was doing, but I guess it's weird to say that there wasn't a patch that I was looking forward to. Like I like weeks ahead of time, I was like, come on, let's get this patch. I want to see where this goes. That didn't happen here. And I don't feel like it's anything that they did poorly besides decide, hey, the main story is going to end in 6.0. And then we're going to tell this little stopgap story. So by design, I think it never really had a chance for me because of that intentional design decision. I like the fights. I like the dungeons. The MSQ was fine. It was, average. But as a whole expansion, I do see the argument where people maybe think, and I may be one of them here, where I feel like maybe Endwalker is the weakest expansion when looking at a full package, particularly from the narrative point of view. Cool story, but you were done. You like blew your load in 6.0, and then everything else was just kind of stopgap. I don't. Am I crazy, Tark? I know some have been a lot harder on Endwalker than I'm being here.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree with those extreme sides either, but it might be the weakest expansion for me from top to bottom.
It's so hard to, because I'm trying to incorporate all of it. Like the rating in Heavensward was so unbalanced and so skewed. Like it was so difficult. Like it wasn't even something for even the mid core to take down. All the jobs were just so convoluted and complicated. It took people weeks, if not months, to really figure out their jobs, for crying out loud. I think they've gotten balance and designing raid fights down to an art form now. Say what you will about the 2-minute meta, but It allows them to balance things. Narratively, yeah, Heaven's Ward is stronger, but overall, I think Endwalker's stronger than Heaven's Ward. So,
if this decided anything for me, Flynn, it's that I never ever want them to end an expansion on the .0 ever again, or end a main story. Fair. If nothing else, walking away from Endwalker, I want them to never ever end a main story quest on the .0 ever again.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to look at this and feel like Final Fantasy XVI had something to do with it ending like this. I'm going to be honest. I went through everything with the exception of the extreme that this patch had to offer. And I did it before the show, before the showtime today. So that's 48 hours ago it came out. And I didn't rush. It wasn't like I was like, I got to get this done so that I can speak intelligently about it on the show. There have been patches where I'm like, I got to get some things done. I might not finish everything, but I at least want to get this, and this done. I was done. The last thing I did was the Alliance Raid, and I did that at like 11 o'clock this morning. I one-shotted it, and here we are. I don't ever want them to end the main story quest on a .0 ever again.
Yeah, completely.
That's fair.
Like, as we've been having this conversation, I've been having the memories of doing some of the side content, mainly the role quests and the follow-up one we had with Fortuno. It's like, that would have been a better, like, may not be the full gap patch list, but just clearing up, the blasphemies, the politics of the states. That would, I think, would have been a better way for us to wrap up Endwalker. Rather than, yeah, we've killed a bad guy, now we're doing what the hell we want. It's like, well, there's consequences to everything that just happened that we're not talking about anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely additional things they could have done there. I don't know. I just don't end on the .0 ever again. Please.
Yeah.
Not to say I didn't enjoy what you offered through the expansion. I did, just not as much as previous expansions. Speaking of content and pieces of expansions, though, 6.5, we got the first dungeon, the Lunar Subterrane. Whoops, this is B-roll for Abyssal Fracture. We'll get to you, B-roll. Right now, we're going to talk about the Lunar Subterrane dungeon first. Tark, I know you're just going to squee about this. From the time I ran it, I did it once with the Trust and a couple of times in Duty Finder with some other people. So every single time I ran it, I was like, God, Tark probably loves this.
So yeah, the first boss Dark Elf, like, okay, was it just me or like the hit points just like non-existent for these dungeon bosses?
Oh, they melt.
Oh my God.
Absolutely melt.
Like, even with Trust, I was like, wow, this is over pretty quickly. Like, this is gonna be over in a snap with the actual group. So,
and they are.
I am so glad that I'm doing these dungeons first with Trust, because there's a lot of snippets that you get when you do it with Trust the first time. Even to the point where like, oh, he thinks we're Golbez. Like, what? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. But the music was awesome.
The music's incredible.
Oh yeah.
I was taken a little bit back about, the change in scenery, because I kind of thought we would go down into the bowels of the Lunar Subterrane, but after that first boss, like, it immediately transitions over to the dream sequence.
Yeah, but the way it was.
It was really cool to see Baron. It was cool to hear Zeros, like, oh, I know what this is, and I'm glad I took her and not Estinian, because it probably wouldn't have gotten all that extra lore, but I don't know. I was kind of disappointed that the last boss, I was hoping it was Baigen. I guess that's as close to Baigen as we'll get, but overall, it was decent.
Flynn?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was in Tark's stream as he was doing dungeon. And it was just like, I am so glad we just didn't have a dark dungeon the whole way through. It's like, this is our last of the story. I just don't want to be in a dark cave.
I loved it.
Yeah, going to Baron, it was
I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely like it's nothing special. I mean, we don't need to rehash the whole pool boss thing.
Yeah,
like that's just the way it's gonna Right, same formula.
The Sega
That's the
boss
way
has
it's just
been
going to be.
hilarious.
But I'll tell you what, I enjoyed the Dark Elf fight. I enjoyed the Antlion fight. Like, they were enjoyable boss fights with a couple interesting mechanics or twists on some mechanics that we've seen before that I was like, that's really cool. I love the music. I love the aesthetic. They don't do anything special with it or take any chances with it. It's just a dungeon. But for me, it's probably the best one in the 6 Dot series. I absolutely love this. I love the bosses. I love the flow, even though it feels samey and singular pathy. They all do. So I'm not going to hold that against this one. In that light, this gets like a 9 for me. I really, really enjoyed this dungeon, and that's without the 4 nostalgia that you put on it, Tark.
Yeah. I gotta grind this dungeon out though, because I gotta get best in slot for top when we go back in there. So I'll be seeing a lot of it. Yay!
Then lucky it's so fun.
Yay!
I
need
the
music from all of this. I need the music from all of this patch.
Yeah.
Even the music in
That's
the
good.
Alliance Raid is pretty darn good too.
Then we got the Abyssal Fracture, the Zeromus fight. I'm going to show the B-roll footage that just so you can see Zeromus from the live letter last week that Yoshi P did. Your 8-man. Flynn, I'll let you go first since we gave Tark the dungeon first.
Oh, yeah. I was all about this fight. Just watching that B-roll footage is like, okay, there's going to be some crazy stuff here. I haven't seen the extreme yet, but it's like, right, this is killing people. The black hole gravity mechanic, just watching someone get sucked in by that and just die in. I would just with glee the entire fight.
Metermus extreme.
Meteromus, yes.
But yeah, the music's fantastic. The transition at near the end of the fight when he goes into nostalgia, which also had an audible chuckle.
Yeah, that was absolutely nuts. Like when you hit the 25% and like just shit starts going crazy, I was like, oh, they totally have me here. They 100%.
This is how you do a transition in a boss fight.
Yeah, it's really good. Now, I saw people kind of bitching when we had seen the live letter, but we hadn't, patch wasn't coming out yet. I saw like Reddit going through there and stuff where it was just like, oh, yay, another Square platform. What do you think of that, Tark? We do have like an overabundance of Square platform bosses in Final Fantasy XIV when you think about it.
I know. And there's only so much they can do.
There's more shapes. I mean, I'm just saying. There's more shapes.
We can go into that with Mr. the Realm. If
the Realm shapes. Plays with shapes, the arena shapes. So, I mean...
Yeah, we had to do math in a previous Alliance raid. We have to do trig in this one. So, geometry in this one.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So that, I'm glad they're experimenting somewhere. But, you're going to have squares. You're going to have your circles. It's the formula. They'll branch out, do different stuff every once in a while, and that's fine, and that's good. I'm not as big a caring. When they do a cool arena, I notice it more. I'm like, oh, that's different, that's cool. But otherwise, the arena's the arena. But God, this fight was just like everything I wanted.
It's very well done.
It was very well done. It was all over the place. I was like, oh my God, that's cool. Oh, the Big Bang. Like even the names of the abilities, got me. Big Bang, nostalgia. And then the transition was just like, they played the last song and then transitioned to the first song. And both were masterfully done. I need to get both of those equestrian rolls. Oh, so good. And his character model is just like, it's perfect. It's him.
It's literally perfect.
It's perfect. Such a great fight. And the EX is the right amount of difficulty, I think, for an EX. People, stop clipping the meteors. You don't... just stop it. Stop it.
Flynn, what do you think?
Yeah.
He's just He's like, yeah.
You let me speak a minute ago, so I'm just back to
honestly, this was probably my favorite part. Well, there's one other thing that is probably just... So I'll give this a 9.5 because there's one thing in this patch that I got to give a 10 to. And so we'll give Zeromus a 9.5. It's just a complete banger from beginning to end in
Mhm.
every conceivable way. And then if you're a huge 4 fan, the nostalgia just puts it over the top. I would imagine this has
That's
to
why
be
those
10
punching
for
you in
you,
the face.
Targ.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever given anything over a 10, so this is an 11 for this fight. This is just, this is perfect. This is everything I wanted. Music.
This is your
Fight.
Spinal Tap of fight.
Yeah, this is perfect. This was designed for me. This is
Where are you
this is
putting it,
Tark's
Flynn?
Fight. Solid 9 now. Can't wait to jump into the extreme whenever my group gets together.
Anybody doing island sanctuary stuff?
I'm
I
halfway
have.
to 18.
I am 18. I did the 2-week prep and I turned off automated pasture, automated garden, collected all the stuff I could, and even did my initial house redo, revamp. So yeah, I'm ahead of the curve for once.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I've upgraded stuff. I think I'm 17. Like, I just broke 17 this morning, I think. So I'm like half a level behind you, Flynn, and a full level behind you, Tark. But yeah, whatever. I got one of my minions already, so we're good there.
You and I both, yeah. Good times.
Good old Island Sanctuary. And then let's talk Alliance Raid. Let's talk
quickly
Thalia.
before that, because it's not in the notes. Have you unlocked Margaret yet?
Yeah, custom deliveries?
Yeah.
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not. I forgot about her.
Yep. You didn't do it yet, Tark?
No, I forgot all about her.
Yeah. Go
I'll get
unlock
that
her.
done. All right.
Go unlock her. We'll just have
She
to
is
smirk.
painfully oblivious.
Yeah.
It's all that sleep depravity.
The Alliance Raid. You might think that I'm going to give the Alliance Raid the 10. I think highly of the Alliance Raid. Very highly of this Alliance Raid. But it's not the whole Alliance Raid I'm going to give the 10 to. From top to bottom, I got to say this Alliance Raid felt easier than most recently, at least for me. I think I died once, and it was because I misunderstood the way a mechanic was popping. And while I was dead, I was able to see it again, and I was like, okay, yeah, I should never, ever die to that again. And that was it. Like, the first time through, blind, no wipes, and I personally only died once. The fights were interesting. The music, the environment is gorgeous. Like, it is absolutely gorgeous from beginning to end in the Alliance Raid. The fights are interesting. I love some of the shapy stuff that they're doing with triangles and can I tell you what my least favorite mechanic that I feel like is really being overused lately is left and rights.
Left,
Yeah.
right, in and
left
out.
and rights. Yeah. I don't mind in out. Left and rights, particularly quick fire left and rights. I'm like, ugh. And when they're only visible through character models that are so big you can just barely get the top of them in your camera frame to see if they have their left arm or right up. These ones aren't too bad because they are channeled for the most part, not all of them, but they are channeled and will say left or right on a cast bar. But they've done it before where there's no cast bar and it's just you've got to see the animation. It's like, come on, you made the model too big. I can barely pull my camera down low enough to see this, or back far enough to see it.
Maybe you need a mod to get that sky view.
Right. Get that sky view.
Just look at the tag team ring. That's where that's arrows.
I loved all of these fights. All of these fights. Music gorgeous. Like, this is an easy 9 for me from top to bottom. I'm probably going to knock it down overall, Tark, to maybe an 8.5 because I felt like this was really easy. And it's not that I expect the Alliance raids to be super difficult by any stretch of the imagination, near notwithstanding. But I literally, I died once and my first party never wiped. Like, not once did we wipe, and we were never even in danger of wiping, ever.
Mine
So
was.
I felt like it was a little easier on my side. Maybe I got lucky with a good party. So I'm going to knock it down to an 8.5 just because it felt a little easier. But top to bottom, thumbs up on this one again.
I do feel like the last boss was overly comparatively.
I mean, yeah, but I liked the rapid delivery of the mechanics, and then the callback to every single
Yeah.
fight in the whole entire series of Mists of the Realm. It
It's
was
like
great.
when it was happening,
Oh.
this is really cool. That's a spectacle. It's amazing. But my mind went back to Ultima in Ivalice when he was doing this and kicking everyone's backside at the same time.
There were a ton of neat mechanics in here too.
Oh yeah,
Like I love the splitting the ocean and then throwing all the players into there.
yeah. Limblade is my favorite boss,
and having to play Frogger on the way back. Like
that was great.
Yeah, there were some really neat mechanics. I did like the triangles falling. That happens a couple of times. It was just good, Tark. It was a solid Alliance raid. Give me a little more difficulty, like on par with the first two, or just a little harder than the first two myths, and it would have been like a 9 for me. Where do you put it?
9's a good number. The environments were absolutely gorgeous here. The art team just knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah.
You're right, left and right, and in and out for me is just way overused. If you're gonna do left and right, do something with it that makes it a little bit more difficult, or something you haven't seen. Even like S ranks, like we'll do left right, but like do twists on it where the boss is rotating and doing a left and right as it's rotating. So you could.
Well,
do
they did
something
kind
more
of
than
do that,
here.
right? With the one that chases along the path.
Sure.
There was some rotation in that one, and a left, right, and in and out. Well, there wasn't an out. There was just an in. It was either left, right, or in.
Yeah, the
on
last
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was cool because you had to like, okay, look at her, but also kind of make sure that you're on the right side and plan your moves 3 steps in advance. So, I mean, that was a cool set.
Yeah, we talked about Zeromus's Square Arena. Then you go to the boss we were talking about here, and that arena is gigantic.
Yeah. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. I got to give part of the Alliance raid the 10.
The end where we all cried.
It's the baby Oppo, man. Oh.
Save the day.
Oh.
I was told, okay.
Going into the quest line to unlock.
Did you guys choose a joke answer?
Yeah, I did. When Derek left, and the Oppo was sad, and I was just like, oh God, no. Like anybody that's ever had a pet, you were like, no, like a pet that was attached to you.
Yeah.
You were its person, right?
Yeah.
You know, like how that stupid block of pixels felt. Like you were just like, oh no. And then when Derek's leaving, I know you're not Derek, when he's in God form and he's leaving at the end of the last fight, and you don't even get to see the Oppo's face. They cut to him twice as he's running, and then all you hear is this squeak through the universe. And Derek stops, and I'm like, oh my God, please go back and take this guy with you. Like, do something. And then it works out. You'll be fine. I'm not going to spoil it, because I actually think there is a little bit of spoiler opportunity in the way Myths ends, although it's extremely telegraphed. Once you start the quest to unlock Myths, you'll probably figure out how this is going to end and why it is ending like this. So it is very telegraphed. But I don't want to spoil that. But that Oppo, oh my God, I almost cried for that stupid block of pixels. 10 out of 10 for baby Oppo.
Yeah, I was told that I was probably going to cry. I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, and the things are happening with the gods. They're doing their thing. I'm trying to be vague here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is meaningful. It's got good hearty moments here, but I wasn't crying yet. I wasn't even feeling, welling in the eyes. I'm like, it's all good. But yeah, that moment hit, and I'm like, oh my.
When he runs and he squeaks.
Yep, he squeaks, and I knew immediately. I'm like, he turns around, and I'm like, just immediately, like the waterworks hit, like immediately, like oh my God.
Baby Oppo gets a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
10 out of 10. Excellent character development.
Oh yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I had to have my cat put down very recently, and it's just like,
Oh.
oh no, you can't do this to me.
Oh
kid.
yeah,
You can't
like
do this to me.
anybody that's
Why?
ever had a pet that you were its person,
Yeah.
you would there will be feels. We'll just leave it at that. There will be feels. And okay, I will spoil it. It's a happy ending. I won't tell you how, but
Yeah.
it's happy. You don't have to worry about it's happy. Just enjoy it and be happy with it. Because then you'll cry because of how happy it is.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Hey, there are a couple of things from the live letter that I do want to get your take on real quick before we head
Sure.
over to some other Square Enix news. The KFC promotion that we kind of got accidentally teased through KFC's social medias. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. That is actually a thing. However, it's only in Japan.
Sad. I want my eat chicken. Come on.
We were setting it up with my buddy that's over there traveling. It's like, if this is not region locked, you're buying so much chicken. We
Yeah.
will feed you.
Yeah.
Eat
I'll-
chicken
I'll-
emote. I mean, it's got to come to other areas, right? They've done this before where there's a cross promotion that's only in one region, and then you end up having other ways to get it, or they extend the promotion. Like Eat Pizza was one of those, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Eat Pizza was here and not anywhere else initially, or something. I can't remember if that was the one, but a Black Chocobo, the Fat Black Chocobo, that's another one
please be
that's
the
made appearances through other methods.
The Cumulus Cloud with Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a magazine here in the UK for the Cumulus Cloud and Monkey King Glamour.
Just,
Yeah. So for now,
I mean, I don't even
Japan
eat at
only.
KFC, but I would do it for eat chicken.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
on.
just saying, like, KFC's only in Japan sort of deal.
Right.
You can bring this everywhere, Square Enix. Do it. We will buy chicken.
Then we've got some information from the live letter. We've talked often on this show. Well, I did not mean to do that.
Oh.
There we go. It's fixed. It's fixed. We've talked on
Good
this
luck.
show about the Criterion and variant and Criterion dungeons and the Savage difficulties and the rewards. And we aren't the only ones, but it was nice to see in the live letter it be acknowledged.
Yeah.
that they are looking at.
But
Yeah, there's a but. We knew there would be one, but they are looking at it, Tark. They are looking at it.
yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think their solution is going to be appropriate because it's already out of the tier. It's like, why do you want to do it for those rewards when I guess we haven't seen the rewards, so I guess I don't know, but like the raid tier's done and you're going to be replacing this gear in the next expansion, you know, in the first
Well,
3-4 levels. So
Well, they
I
also.
don't know.
I think that they meant this more going forward because they also did
Sure.
say that variant and Criterion are going to continue through 7.0. So
Which is
they
great.
do have. Well, that's great. But you know, hey, at least they're acknowledging we hear you. You're not happy with the rewards. We're going to try to figure something out here. To make
And this
feel
is a
little
good
worth it.
place to pour it.
I just
Because
don't
every
know
other
what the-
time
the-
it's been too late in the dev cycle for them to do anything. But at least now we've got, at least 8 months before Dawn Trail. So that's plenty of time to gather the feedback, to work out the system, and be able to implement it for the point, whatever patch we'll get off
Yeah.
Criterion and Dawn.
if they keep this to the odd patches where like ultimates are in the Alliance Raid, I just don't see the point of the rewards in the Savage
Casual
mode.
players.
I just don't see the point. I guess we'll have to see what the plans are, what the rewards are, but like right now I'm skeptical at best.
Hey man, I thought it was nice just to have the acknowledgement.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
because
that's-
they have
that's the
stayed
first
away
step.
from
is
talking
the first
about
step.
it at all, and it's been feedback since the first set of them.
I think they just
This
need
is a
to,
win for the.
if they're really gonna lean into Criterion and Criterion Savage, and they need to do something that's for Savage mode that is different from just Criterion than other than just a timer. Anyways, if they're really gonna do something, they really got to incorporate in the loot system somehow. So
In other Square Enix news, Final Fantasy XIV is getting a tabletop RPG,
This is so
aka Final Fantasy XIV D&D. This item is available for pre-order now at a nice price of $60 US. Comes with a bunch of dice and tokens and all that stuff as you would expect. But also comes with a beginner or a player book and a game master book. So kind of like your DM guide and your player guide. And then later, there's like character sheets and stuff in there too. Like I'm not going to shortchange that stuff. It's in there. But as far as like other additional books, there are going to be adventure guide books put out later that you can take a look at. You can't pre-order those, but you can pre-order the Final Fantasy tabletop RPG now. As a D&D fan and somebody working on a 14-inspired D&D one-shot, Flynn, what'd you think when you saw this announcement?
Oh, I got very excited. I got more excited.
Oh, and yes,
for
Jedi, the
D20
die is
with a
themed.
meteor
Yes.
symbol.
Jedi,
I'm more excited for that die.
Yeah, the
It's
die
like,
is
yeah,
themed.
the adventure module, cool. They're doing their own system. That's fine. I'm already working on something. But yeah, this is going to be a purchase. I told the wife this is my birthday present since it's coming up in May next year. But
Jedi
yes,
going
very
nuts
excited.
in chat now knowing that the die has the meteor symbol for 20. Yeah.
I would have liked the D6s to have Volkswagen treatment.
Oh, man, there's
Because,
going to
as
be
you
so
know, Mike,
much
with,
custom Etsy shit for this. Don't worry about it.
But
There's
as you
going
know,
to be
as a
so
TCG player,
much.
your FF dice have the F for the 1. They could have done that here.
Well, they have the F for the 1, and then they're all Roman numerals, which actually is a terrible die. The number of people that are like 4 or 6, 4 or 6, 4 or 6. Oh, that's a 4. Like, whatever. They're cute though. Like, I won't use anything else. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of Etsy shit for this, Tark.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a ton
Got my
of
dice
it.
back ready.
Yeah. I need to make some loaded dice for being a game master, and so I have a special die. And if I really want my, player characters to suffer, that loaded die that's going to come up 1, let's go.
There's other products coming from Square Enix too. We got the Chocobo Hunt game that we were able to see played before release at Final Fantasy TCG's Nationals, North American National Competition. So we got to see that there. That's coming out, Chocobo Hunt. And then we also have a Final Fantasy VII remake board game, and Tark just wants to slot materia. That's all he wants to do.
I mean, it looks kind of basic.
It really does. It's like $45, and all we see in like the preview of stuff is cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how much of a board game this is.
Yeah, components include 20 character cards, 80 materia cards, 5 types of materia, 16 cards each, 20 medal tokens, not metal, medal tokens, five materia tiles, 5 types of materia, 1 each, and 2 rule sheets, 1 in Japanese, 1 in English. It's for 2 to 4 players, taking 20 to 30 minutes per game, ages 14 and up. So calling it a board game, which they legitimately do. It's not just me saying board game. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like some of the cards though.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like Final Fantasy art on anything. Like, put it on a poster. I don't care.
I mean, those materia cards, or the numbers,
Yeah, the materia cards look like shit.
Yeah, that's like. Okay.
I'm kind of hoping that's the back of the card in a way.
No, I think that's
that's the materia card.
Yeah, that's the materia cards. 80 materia cards, 5 types of materia.
See what the actual rules in the game are. See if it's super basic or there's actually some depth to it.
Yeah, and the little medals have a Moogle on them. Again, medal.
Moogle card, not Google card.
Medal.
Yeah, medal.
With a D.
As in wear a medal.
Donkey.
Which means all this shit's going to be cardboard. It's $45. I don't know. I'm going to buy the $60 thing. I'd be hard pressed to buy this for $45.
If it was an actual board game.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
But anyways.
Hey Tark.
Yeah.
Say this name of a Final Fantasy character. You ready?
I'm ready.
CAITSITH.
All right. So when I was growing up and I played 7, I pronounced it Kate Sith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I got older and heard that that's not correct, and I was told it was supposed to be Kai-Shi. But now apparently,
Boy, are you wrong. It's Kate Sith, man. It's
Twitter.
Kate Sith.
Twitter.
Square Enix has decided, according to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that it is pronounced Kate Sith.
So young me was correct.
Which is how I've always pronounced it. I did not, Tark, like you, I didn't find out till much later that, wow, there are memes making fun of how I pronounce this. And Square Enix has just decided this past week to release the information that no, the memes are right. It is now Kate Sith. It was always prevail. Kate Sith for me. Yeah, the memes prevail.
Yeah, that's the thing with Final Fantasy is like, growing up, I was always Ifrit, Bahamut. Then you hit 12 and it's Ifrit, Bahamut. It's like, yeah, no.
Rama.
That's just your universe name. Fine. No. That's how you want to pronounce it. Fine. I'm sick with Ifrit. And the other ways I pronounce everything.
I've heard Ramu. I've heard that it's supposed to be Rama. It depends on which game.
Yeah.
I pronounce it Rama. But
is it Titus or Titus?
It's Titus.
Titus. Only because of the voice actor.
No, because it's
like officially that it has been answered. Yeah.
Final Fantasy. It's Titus. It's the only logical. Like, whatever.
Hey Tark, are you still playing Ever Crisis?
Hell yeah, I'm having so much fun with that game, and I've only spent like $14 on it. It's great.
Coming to Steam.
I know, that's awesome.
And Sephiroth,
Blue Stacks.
Yeah, Sephiroth is available now too.
Oh, I got him. He's a badass. He can do so much damage. It's great, and it's young Sephiroth, so you have opportunities to maybe grow with him. And his character arc and story is pretty cool too. They're actually fleshing him out, making him human.
I do have to share one thing I didn't like about this news that broke. Game Rant, their headline is fucking terrible on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, the mobile game that's out now, is coming to Steam. That's the story. And they give you all that information, right? But the headline is such clickbait garbage for a bigger gaming site. Like Game Rant, it may not be massive, but they are big. New Final Fantasy VII game is coming to PC. What a garbage clickbait title, knowing that people have been watching like Rebirth and that stuff and when it's going to come to PC and things like it. It just says new Final Fantasy VII game is coming to PC. And then the sub-headline doesn't clarify it either. Square Enix reveals exciting news for Final Fantasy VII fans as a PC version of one of the games in the franchise is currently in development. Like, what garbage headline and sub-headline?
Then you got to get past that big image blocking more text.
Then you got to get past the big Tifa and characters, friends image. It's not until you like halfway down before you find out, the image is from Remake. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage.
You could just imagine one of them having a reefer going, do you want to know we're going to get a bunch of hits?
Yep.
Watch this, bro.
You got Octopath Traveler 2 news in here, Tark. What's going on?
No, actually Flynn does, but...
Oh, was that Flynn? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Xbox, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming to Xbox, Game Pass, and PC next year. And I'm super excited. It's a great game. The more platforms, the more people that can experience it. Now we just need Octopath Traveler original, the first one, to be ported to PS4. Please.
Please.
Please and thank you.
And
maybe some more additional copies of Pixel Remaster for PS4 as well. I appreciate that.
And maybe.
Please, maybe.
What else, Flynn?
Ooh, what else was there?
People can fly.
Yes. A big old 86-page document I linked to. Bad news for Outriders. They have not been paid royalties yet.
Still.
Yes. But on the other hand, they have not sold enough to earn royalties, which is a shame.
It is a shame because that game was really cool. It had some issues, but like, it's really cool.
Yeah, I heard good reviews for the people who played it.
There are a ton of Square Enix console games on sale right now. And this was, I put this in the show notes last week, and they are still on sale now, a lot of them via Amazon and via Best Buy. You got Crisis Core, FF7 Reunion, Theatrhythm Final Bar Line, Dragon Quest Treasures, Octopath 2, Dying Light 2, like Deerfield Chronicle. There's a ton. Check out Amazon and Best Buy. A lot of these that are like $50 are on sale for $35 or $45 on sale for $20. There's some deep hit discounts on some Square Enix titles right now.
There's also one hilarious one on the Best Buy deals. They sell us Marvel's Avengers for $17.50.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I think they've really been going hard on this sale because I think it's also on the Square Enix store, all these prices as well. And I have like YouTube ads. I've been bombarded with these ads all over the place. Like, okay, yeah, I mean, I like Square Enix and I know the algorithm is a thing, but like every other ad was like a Square Enix, everything's on sale, like everything must go because we're being sold to Sony. Maybe that's another topic for another day.
The Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy is going to take you right into the Advent Children movie, which I think is an interesting way to take things. There's certainly going to have to be some changes that I wasn't really expecting them to go into that have to really take place there. But we'll see. That should be a little interesting.
Advent Children remake? No.
And by the way, no save carryover. We speculated on this show that you probably will not be able to do that. And some people did not believe us. Like they thought, and we even said, maybe they could pull a Mass Effect, like pull the save data or not. But we kind of thought, these are going to be so far apart that like, even tech-wise, that might be a dangerous scenario for them to do. It's confirmed no save carryover in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy.
Yeah, well, we do get some 7 material.
I just think that's...
Yeah, you do get some extra stuff. I
think that's just a wise decision because, like, if they give you 50 levels every single game, you'll be like a level 150 by the end of the third one, and the numbers will be like in the millions of damage, and that just gets absurd. So each game being its own story point, I think that's just a wise move.
Allows them to balance the game for each entry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. That's definitely smarter plan than doing like the hack series.
Let's head over to Love It or Leave It. Love It or Leave It is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related. Could be a feature in a game itself, something they've done or said in the press, or anything I want. And you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it, never want to see it again. No fence sitting here. I have a feeling I know how today's is going to go. Flynn, we'll have you go first. Love it or leave it, a Final Fantasy XIV D&D.
Absolutely love it. And what's better is, because I'm already got things in the plan for my fellow hosts. When these adventures come out, I will potentially transcribe them into 5e and run more of it. So huge love it for me.
14 D&D.
I love the idea of it. Unfortunately, I feel it's going to be one of those things that it gets put in Square Enix's miscellaneous category, like the TCG.
Oh, it already is.
And it's not going to be supported long term. So,
but does it need to be?
It really doesn't.
Doesn't need to be. Like if they put out the set that has the player handbook, the game master handbook, and they put out, let's say they already are advertising to, let's say they do 6 different adventure books. Like what more do you need at that point, right?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Like, do you want
really
them to do
into the mainstream like D&D
Do you
has?
want them to do something like, a long-term Wizards of the Coast D&D updates to their core systems and additions and stuff like that?
Yeah,
is that
and
really
like adventure packs.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I want this to be. I want TCG to get the love that it deserves after.
Tell me about it.
Decades, but.
Right, but that is actually a TCG product. Like, they are legitimately trying to market that as a TCG. I don't think that's what they're going for here. This is, a board game to them.
Yeah, and I think they're just it's gonna push this out, and then nothing else is gonna come out for it, and they're gonna say, "Oh, we didn't sell enough of the base package. It didn't meet our expectations, so we're just done with it." And they're not gonna support it, and then it's gonna be super niche, and you're this investment of $60. Then you're like, no, even Square Enix isn't like.
But that's the thing with these type of games.
I love the idea of it.
It's a rule set.
Yeah.
I'm
going to go with love it. I do love it. I don't think it needs the type of support you're talking about. Like a TCG absolutely needs support. It needs new sets. It needs new mechanics. It needs that. Otherwise, a TCG is just dead a year and a half after the last set is released. That's just the way a TCG works. I think you can get away with every year or two, or even just sync it up with the expansion, right? Here's 2 new adventure books with the expansions of Final Fantasy XIV. And I think they'd be much more willing to do that than support TCG the way I want. Baron has a question. Love it or leave it, the Materia board game, Flynn. Leave it.
Probably leave it.
Leave it.
Price especially.
It's not a board game.
Leave it.
Do it as a $20 thing. Sure. $20, that's a throwaway price.
Hey, chat, don't go anywhere right after the show today. We have got her back. It's Faye. She's got an angry face on. I don't know if she can hear me right now. Yeah, is that... I don't think she can hear me right now.
Poker.
Distracted over there.
I don't think she can hear me. Faye?
Hey.
Oh, I got the hold on. I got the hold on. She can see on the camera on Twitch that she's on the screen. That's what just happened there.
I'll go back to a point then while we're sitting there face on out with Tark's thing about sport. All you need are these. The Encyclopedia Eorzeas. These are events from the chronology of the series. You can
wait for that third one, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for that third one.
This is all you need to write your campaigns.
LOL.
Faye?
Come back, Faye.
Faye, yes or no? Is it Baldur's Gate tonight? I'm pretty sure it's Baldur's Gate 3 again. Faye will be live playing Baldur's Gate 3. Is it BAULT? 3? Baldur's Gate 3? Yes?
Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition? Are we going backwards?
Right? Are we going backwards? Well, yeah, she can't hear us. So
are we doing sign language?
We'll get her live shortly. Don't go anywhere, chat.
Our audio's bored? I don't know.
Until next time, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at Flynn_Lowlight, and spelled as Within Crisis, and over on Twitch at Within Crisis. And potentially you will see me here on this channel running a one-shot Final Fantasy XIV D&D campaign with fellow hosts.
Nice.
Tark.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all Tarkoth Gaming, playing Final Fantasy XIV 5 days a week. Maybe be a bit less here now with the job thing coming up here. But then you also find me on Radio Check Radio Saturday nights where we're playing God of War. Good stuff.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, a stream, or anything else. This Saturday, we'll be streaming from a retro gaming convention in Syracuse. So make sure you're following to get those notifications. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.